Will adding Hordes of Enemies completely destroy my game? What do you think? Spoiler alert, yes. Yes it will. Stay tuned if you want to see how bad it was. Let's start from the beginning. I'm Bart Mamzer and I've been making Power Last for 6 years already. In short, it's an action RPG inspired by games like Diablo 1, Might and Magic 7 and some other old school RPGs. If you're interested in knowing more about it, let me know in the comments. Coming back to the main topic, requests for more monster density appeared on the suggestions channel on Discord from time to time, but I was very hesitant to actually implement it. There are two main reasons for that. The first one was the potential performance issues. More monsters on the screen meant more work for the GPU and more AI related work for the CPU. The game is available on mobile, so I have to take into account even low-end Android devices. Which means I can't really add anything I want to the game in unlimited quantity. The second major issue with increasing monster density was the combat mechanics. The game is designed in a way that requires you to evade enemy attacks, and it's really easy to die if you get hit just by a couple of them. That means you really need to watch out for all of the enemies on the screen. Increasing density would mean that the game is no longer about evading enemy attacks, but it's about slaying hordes of enemies. While that might sound awesome, changing the core design principles so late in the development is definitely not the best way to go. A ton of people enjoy playing games like Vampire Survivors, so I decided to try adding a ton of enemies to Power Last. I've decided it's going to be an additional challenge to increase the variety in the game. You will be able to access it from the hub town in dungeon mode. I created a new script, added a little bit of code, prepared a location for the challenge, and decided to test it out. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So I went back to coding, and then it didn't work again. After a few tries, I finally managed to make it work. The spawns were a bit too fast, but it was good enough for the first test. I tweaked the texture of the map a bit, and found a nice snowy texture I liked. Then I tested it once more, and it clearly wasn't a good choice. My love for Bloom and the piles of gold dropping from the enemies made the snowy background a light show. I definitely needed to find something less bright. Okay, this will do. Works quite well. Pretty fun to play. What can go wrong? Let's test it on the device. I have this cheap used phone I got for testing purposes. It was one of the top 5 devices causing the most issues in reports. It's still a surprisingly good phone though. The game works pretty alright on it. Let's see how it's gonna work with Hordes of Enemies. Yeah, it works pretty good, right? 7 FPS is totally playable. The game is more tactical now, you have more time to think. And that's not the only issue. Everything looks fine on PC at first glance. But when you look closer, the AI in the middle is lost, totally confused. I'd have to redo the AI and somehow make the GPU work less. Don't think it's easily achievable on a low-end Android device. How will I fix it? You'll never guess who rescued me from this huge pickle. You did! All of the people who voted on the poll on Discord, to be exact. Apparently, the preferred way, according to the community, for this to work is not to spawn all these enemies at once, but only spawn the next wave once the previous one is defeated. Makes total sense when you look at it from player survival viewpoint. Still, this is supposed to be a horde attack mode, so let's at least make the waves have more enemies than the player normally encounters. Let's also add some counter for the defeated enemies. We can reuse the counter I already have for the Engine Kill quest. Okay, works great. Let's add a reward screen and a chest with some nice loot inside. Okay, time for testing. Slaying all those undead warriors is pretty epic. What the hell? Where's the last guy? Let's take a look behind the scenes. Okay, here you are. What the hell are you doing in the wall, mate? Okay. I think I know what's going on. These enemies have 2 lives. They respawn themselves once after they die, but they do that in the place where their corpse is. And during our cool slow-mo killing dance, we were throwing corpses left and right like crazy. That's going to be very disappointing for players. It basically blocks them from finishing the challenge. Let's fix that by making sure every enemy in the Horde's attack level always has just 1 life. Should be good enough. Let's see if it actually works on the device now. After a few tweaks, I think it works quite nicely. Just like I thought, huge hordes wouldn't work well in current design, especially on mobile. But seeing that in action on PC actually made me kinda inspired to try making a smaller game just focus on that. It should be rather quick, since I can reuse a ton of stuff I already have in Powerlust. There is already a ton of Vampire Survivors clones though, so I'll have to prototype it and see if I can find a way to make it unique. Want to see if I can pull it off? Click on the video that just appeared on the screen. Okay, I lied. The video is actually not there yet, because, obviously, I haven't made it yet, but hopefully it's there if you're from the future. Enjoy the devlog? Subscribe!